Piper is the sweetest brawler in Brawl Stars. Or is she? Because there's a dark lore that you should definitely know. Piper was born at a very young age in a small town, and she is the owner of Sugar and Spice Bakery, a tiny shop where you can get all type of desserts and people love it. But Piper has a dark secret. In her basement there's a lab, a chemistry lab, and there exists a hidden business that nobody knows. It turns out this sweet lady turns wheat grain into and sold it across the globe. Piper's Sugar and Spice Bakery is just a facade to dodge the government, because Piper's operations are bigger than your mom, from Coke-flavored cakes to bribing police. Even Shelly can't smell it. Her illegal business makes $100 million a year, and with illegal money comes with illegal actions. Piper modified Umbrella into a sniper, just in case the deal went south. Piper has been faking bad all her life, but nobody has ever came out with the reality, because those who tried never returned. In Brawl Stars, there's a hidden lore about Colt that you probably didn't know. Colt was born at a very young age in a small town called Silver Creek. It was a lonely place with boring peasants, but that didn't stop Colt from rising up the baddies of the town. He was a natural performer. He always wanted to be a hero, just like the Old West. So he shaked his gun, spent numerous hours training to be the best. But this town was too small for his dreams. Until Starr Park Amusement came to this town. They wanted daring performers to be their main attraction. This was a golden ticket to adventure, so Colt applied. The audition was rough, but Colt finally became a pretty boy gunslinger. But the Starr Park was mysterious. He noticed some dark anomalies lurking in the shadows. He thought he saw some usual suspects at night, but no. Many people have went missing. He wanted to end the evil and not run back to his mommy. Edgar is the most hated brawler in Brawl Stars, but there's a hidden lore which can explain why. Edgar was born at a very young age and he often felt misunderstood. His mother brushed off his emo look as a phase, but he felt the stigma deep inside him. Edgar always believed he was destined for greatness. He thought he was far superior than his classmates, but no one ever recognized his talent, and that's why during Brawl School, he often sat alone while the other kids used to mock him for his sigma. He spent many hours trying to perfect his look. This scarf gave him an identity, and he often used it to hide his face to save himself from the mockery. But one day, he found about acrobatics, and Edgar started embracing the art by spending numerous hours training in secret. He felt better and superior than those peasants, but to prove himself, he took part in Brawl Stars, and it worked out fine. He started winning rounds, but his narcissism quickly made him the most hated brawler. But he believed this hate was simply a sign of envy, and this helped him push his limit. He thrived in this toxic environment because every victory is a testament to his greatness, and every defeat is nothing but a fluke. In Brawl Stars, there's a hidden lore about Shelly that you probably didn't know. Shelly and Colt were born in a small town called Silver Creek. It was a barren land with nothing exciting. While Colt hated this place, Shelly embraced a small community. Shelly always had a strong sense of justice and wanted to protect this town. Since her father was a lawman, he showed her the ways of using a shotgun. As time moved on, Shelly gained a reputation of being tough and resilient towards the baddies, but her training was often overshadowed by Colt. He was a true Rizzler, the lady special and the crowd's favorite. She believed in hard work or hardly working, but deep down she never understood how Colt got to steal the limelight. As much as Colt wanted Shelly's approval, he was fine. Until one day, a group of bandits attacked the town and this was Colt's time to shine. But in the midst of attack, Colt got scared, and that's when Shelly came out of the bushes and saved the day. Shelly finally got the respect she deserved, and Colt started a dream of becoming a gunslinger. Kit is the most god-awful annoying brawler in Brawl Stars, but there's a depressing lore that you probably didn't know. Kit was born with 9 lives at a very old age. He was the main actor of Starr Park Studio present Paranormal with Kitty, a show about his pursuit in haunted houses. This made Kit a sensational star. We're talking billboards, merchandise, and the ladies. Kit was everywhere until Startoon Studio decided to scratch the show with extra season, and sure enough, this hit Kit real bad. This show became the symbol of corporate greed, and by the end of season 9, people had enough. Kit's decline from once promising career became inevitable. Gone were the days when he was loved. Now he's just a washed-up star that no one cares. Kit joined Brawl Stars as a desperate attempt to be relevant, but even in the arena, he was known as a weird cat with attachment issues. Kit's life is now sad and lonely, and I'm glad because I really hate that cat. Primo is the most beloved brawler in Brawl Stars, and there's a wholesome lore which explains why. Antonio was born at a very young age in Mexico. His father is the famous Primo, a former World Lucha Libre legend. The glorious tales of its father inspired Antonio to dedicate his life to Lucha Libre. He trained every muscle to tone perfection. The villagers called him El Primo. His fame spread wide and many challengers wanted to fight, but El Primo defeated them all, and there's a simple reason why. He was fighting for the pain and for glory of his legendary father, who recently died from death. After defeating all the major rivals in Mexico, El Primo discovered Brawl Stars, where fighters from all around the world fought for stars. In a grueling battle for glory, his fights were intense and his spirits could not be broken. But El Primo never fought for by Gloria. I mean, he did, but he also fought for pain, because with no pain, there is no glory. Frank is the most traumatized brawler in Brawl Stars. Stars. And there's a dark reason that you probably didn't know. Frank was not born at a very young age, but rather he was created by Mortis. Frank is the result of a successfully failed experiment at Starr Park. He was supposed to be a scary monster for a haunted house, but the experiment failed as Frank turned out to be a sweet pokey. Mortis, the boss of Starr Park, was furious. He spent millions on research only for a pokey bear. This is not good, but Mortis had no other choice. Frank was put to work at the Starr Park machinery. Although he looks rough, those who knew him loved him. He was a kind soul and light and DJ at night. Frank soon became a local legend, and this made Mortis very angry. Monsters weren't supposed to be kind, so Frank was told to quit his job and help Mortis. And here's when Mortis tortured him. He broke his heart, made him wash dishes, and even destroyed his machine. Frank suffered for days until he had enough. He realized the world is rotten and his Sigma finally came out. Frank joined Brawl Stars to release his anger in a legal way, and this is only just the beginning. Bull is the most bully brawler in Brawl Stars, but there's a soft side that you probably didn't know. Bull was born at a very old age in a gym. He was a tough old teenager who always looked for a thrill, a kind of guy who would challenge anyone for a duel, and this led him into a lot of trouble. But some troubles were fine if it's for the family. But one unfortunate day, Bull messed with the wrong group of people, and this got him beaten up real bad. But the ultimate sacrifice was made by his friend, who got in the way of the bullets and died from death. For a long time, Bull was a broken man with thirst for vengeance, so he trained for years to become rougher and stronger, waiting for the day when he could get his revenge, but in a responsible way. Because Bull doesn't take trouble in having enemies, but if he were to fight, he wouldn't lose to anyone. Bull entered Brawl Stars to put brawlers on the line, so they could never repeat his fate. In Brawl Stars, there's a mysterious lore about Mortis that you never knew. In the fun land of Starr Park, there was a humble mortician called Mortis. He was born at a very old age, and he always had a thing for vampires and death. Starr Park amusement used to be a dangerous place, and a proper funeral was a way of respect. So Mortis took his job very seriously. He studied the ancient traditions, crafted customized coffins, and even had bats for funeral. But there was one major issue. Ever since the new healing portion, the brawlers stopped dying. Mortis hated this. This was his dream job, but it was gone before it began. As time moved on, his frustrations kept growing, and that's when he had a resolve. If death couldn't come to Starr Park naturally, he would bring it himself. And ever since then, the brawlers started disappearing. Eventually, Mortis, a humble mortician, suddenly became the new boss of Starr Park, and he had plans bigger than your mom. Since then, Starr Park hasn't been the same. Colt was the first to notice the strange anomalies, but he was going to find out the gift of darkness very soon. Colette is the most obsessive brawler in Brawl Stars because Edgar broke her heart. Let me explain. Colette was born at the age of 0, and she was an ordinary girl, while Colette has a world of interest. She has always been that one quiet kid. But you know who else was lonely? Skibidi Sigma Edgar. They instantly became friends as they shared the same sense of alienation. In the meanwhile, Colette started collecting Brawl toys. It began with plushies and ended up with a giant pile of every single toy of every single brawler. This obsession ran deep, and she spiraled further into the world of fantasy. Edgar tried to pull her back to reality, but for her, even Edgar was just a toy in her collection, the one she could control. Even Sigma Edgar was like, no way, and left her. Edgar was the last group to the real world, and now that he's gone, these toys aren't just toys, they were memories which turned into a nightmare. Colette has now entered the arena to collect what she deserves, Edgar's head, and that's why. Melody is the most spooky brawler in Brawl Stars, but there's a disturbing lore that you probably didn't know. Melody was born at the rightful age of 0. She began from the karaoke bar, and later rose to fame because of her kawaii aura. Dreams came true when Star Studios approached her with the contract of a lifetime, and after years of hard work, she became the pop star of the world, and things seemed perfect until Star Studios pressurized her for work. Melody had to look perfect for the standards, so she was forced to stop and work long hours. Let's not forget, all her music was in the company's name, and the contract that once gave her freedom became a cage, and the joy of singing faded away. After years of exploitation, Melody had enough. She trained to manifest the power of her vocals into a deadly weapon. Melody left music and joined Brawl Stars not for the fame, but to sing out the deadliest notes and reclaim her life. Mico is one of the most hated brawlers in Brawl Stars, but there's a hidden lore that you should definitely know. Mico was born at a very old age in a jungle. I mean, he's a ooga booga monkey, but later in life he became sound engineer at Brawler. Mico has an exceptional talent in music and became blockbuster hit. We talking the Mega Brawl, Melody's Amplifier, and more. Mico became the monkey in Brawler, but he was very hard to work with. He often used to rage over silly jokes and thought he was very funny, but he's not. Things got so bad that one day, Mico went ape shit over his co-sound designer and started jumping all over the place. The entire set was destroyed and the losses were high. Mico was blacklisted from Brawler forever, and his fall from grace hit harder than Piper's bullet. Mico decided to join Brawl Stars to find love and validation. But even in the arena, Mico was seen as a low-skill loser who got an unfair advantage, and that's why Dynamike is a mentally ill maniac in Brawl Stars. Because there's a sad lore that you probably didn't know. Mike was spawned at a very old age in a mine. From the very beginning, he spent his life chipping away rock, but all he ever got was fool's gold. Until one day, Mike saw a vein of ore hidden deep in the rock wall, but with no way out to reach. Mike took out his dynamite, but his frustration clouded his judgment as he used way too much, and the explosion blasted the entire mine. The roof collapsed and all his friends died from death. However, Mike survived, but his guilt ate him alive. Eventually, Mike came back to work, but he found a sense of comfort with the sound of explosive, as if it rewired his brain for a bigger boom. Now he went all wrong, causing bigger explosions. Mike joined Brawl Stars as Dynamike to simply enjoy the sheer power of boom. He even bombed Starr Park Training Center just for fun, and that's why. Leon used to be the most broken brawler in Brawl Stars, but there's a hidden lore that you should definitely know. Leon and Nita were born at a very okay shade, and they were the magical sibling. Nita could spawn Bruce the Bear, while Leon can go invisible, but as they grew older, Leon slowly detached away from his family. He started spending time alone in his room. His invisibility came handy as he slipped into the shadows of his thoughts. Nita felt abandoned. Is this the beginning of Sigma? No, but Nita tried to talk, but he never replied. Things got serious when Nita was attacked by Skibbity-fueled Edgars, and Leon ran away. Nita obviously survived the attack of room temperature IQ Edgars, but since that day, Nita brewed hatred for Leon and they never spoke again. As time moved on, Nita trained to become a formidable warrior, while Leon used his invisibility to hide from the world. To this day, nobody knows what's wrong with Leon, but he lives in regret and he battles out his anger in Brawl Stars. Doug has to be the fakest brawler in Brawl Stars, because behind that smile, there's a sad lore that you probably didn't know. Doug wasn't born at a very young age, but rather he was made by the power of magic. From the very beginning, Doug was famous for his wieners. In fact, Mortis even offered him a partnership to sell them at Starr Park, but with one condition: Doug has to follow the Starr Park recipe. He didn't care much, but things became strange. The visitors became violent. Some of them fought with each other and many of them died from death. Doug slowly realized what's going on. It's the recipe. Each bite is filled with strange chemicals that makes you mad, but it's too late. Doug has heard the rumors about twisted Mortis experiments. This is one of them. Doug has no choice but to stand with a smile, or else he will be gone, and that's why Mo will be looking for lobbies in Brawl Stars, because there's a wholesome lore that you should definitely know. Mo is a blind rat who was born at the age of infinity. He lived in the dark sewers of Starr Park, and every day he spent his time navigating the dark tunnels only by smell. But even though he is small, he is tough. These sewers were dangerous and every day was a battle for survival, and life itself was lonely. Until one day, Mo fell into a deep pit while he was looking for food, and that's when Grom spotted this little fella. He scooped out the struggling rat and noticed he was blind. Grom always had a spot for helpless creatures, so from that day onwards, Grom and Mo became inseparable. But Mo shouldn't just survive, he should thrive. So Grom taught him about maintenance and even made a tiny mask. They also built him a driller that Mo can use with confidence. Even though Grom hated children, he adopted him like a son. Mo finally found a place where he truly belonged, and that's why Barley is the most empty brawler in Brawl Stars. Because there's a sad lore that you probably didn't know. Barley was made as a machine at the time of Zero for one singular purpose. He worked at the Starr Park Tavern where he would serve drinks to ungrateful customers. Every night, brawlers came to drink their life away, but Barley always wondered what it is like to be human. After all, he's a machine. He always heard brawlers talk about their life and their pain, but he never understood the human emotion. As the night ran as usual, he noticed an unknown brawler drinking his pain away. Barley has heard him talk about his sad life, but tonight he drank way too much and he never returned. Barley realized everyone leaves eventually and create a mess that they never knew about. Even his tavern gets empty with drinks spilled everywhere, but he has to clean up or else they may never return, even if those are ungrateful customers. Barley doesn't understand the human emotion, but he won't stop cleaning either, because deep down he knows it's the only thing that's left to do, again and again and again, and that's why. Here's how Edgar's scarf works in Brawl Stars. Is it a part of his body like most of you think, or is it controlled by the power of mind? Well, I have a theory. Ever since Edgar was born at a very young age, he always believed he was a Skibbity Sigma, but the kids at school bullied him, and that's why Edgar started covering his face with a scarf, and slowly enough it became a part of his aura. Although nobody knows how he got his powers, my theory is Edgar's scarf is an extension of his ego. This scarf is controlled by the power of his Skibbity mind. Edgar doesn't use his scarf for attack, but rather it amplifies his fist for more damage. His scarf is also the reason why he can jump so high. But here's the thing, it may look like the scarf has his own mind, but no, it only responds to Skibbity Edgar's mind. Since Edgar is driven by ego, losing a battle is frustrating, hence he punishes himself with some beating. Edgar is not a JoJo reference, but in case you're wondering, this is the real lore of Kenji in Brawl Stars, and you should definitely know. Kenji was born at a very young age with a quiet and fulfilling life. Every day, Kenji wakes up before the sun to craft his delicious recipes. After all, he's the most beloved sushi chef in the town. His home was his world and his kitchen was his canvas. All they saw was a kind-hearted scared young man. But Kenji's eyes tell a story that is lost in his haunted memories. And it all began with one evening. A group of heartless samurai robots stormed his house. Their metallic limbs destroyed his kitchen and his family was taken away. Nobody knows what's the purpose, but Kenji fought with knives. But the robots came in numbers. All he could do was battle until his very death. As the echoes turned silent, Kenji could no longer pretend to be a chef. His history might have been the reason for attack, but it's too late. Kenji's katana that once he used for sushi became his ultimate weaponry, and he made up his mind to skin his way through Starr Park. Clancy, you better be careful.